Hello and happy Friday, and thanks for tuning in to RadioFreeRhinecliff.org. In this show in particular, correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm. I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Daniel Dordine.
Norm.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yes. I mean, that's how we pronounce it. It's Dordine or Diordine, but no one pronounces it. Not even my family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because some people do say that. And I think, fools. No, it's Dordine. But it's a Diordine?
It's an Italian name. So if you know, I don't know if you all know Joe Luzzi. He's a very cool guy. Probably would be great on your show. He's a professor at Bard, and he gets incensed that I don't pronounce my name properly. I mean, he's an Italian professor, so you know.
So when you introduce yourself to people, you say Daniel Dordine.
I just say Dan. Yeah. Dan. I don't even go to the last name. In New York, 95% of people call me Daniel. In Rhode Island, where I grew up, or New England, I'm Danny.
Right.
I mean, doesn't maybe, even with clients, or like I'm just Danny, and that's a Rhode Island. I think it's a Rhode Island thing.
I love that. And what do you hear in Rhinebeck?
I get Dan, and I get a lot of Daniel. I get a lot of that, and which is cool. It's fine. I've been called worse. So,
well, let's hear it. What are some of the worst things you've been called?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
David.
Yeah.
And it's when people have met me, I mean, like a lot,
right?
And they still come out with, oh, nice to see you, David. It's like, really, dude? Because I thought we had a thing.
Yeah,
like we know each other.
Yeah, but maybe you do, and the person is just like me, terrible at remembering names.
Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible at remembering names.
Yeah,
but you can navigate that. You can call them, sort of a random term like bro, right, or breezy or dude,
bro,
or whatever, or you kind of say, you get a third party into the conversation, and you say, "Oh, hi, this is my wife Jen."
Oh, I do that all the time.
That person then introduces themselves, and
hopefully
you now have the other person's name.
Yeah, and if they're a good wingman, they introduce themselves here, and if there's no counter introduction, just like you are, yeah. So, and then you're like, note to self, it's Daniel or Danny.
Yeah.
What does your wife call you?
Dan. Dan. Yeah, Dan. I'm Dan.
And you've got kids. I assume they call you dad or something. How many kids do you have?
I have Nate is 16. He's going into junior year.
Okay.
He's kind of doing like the music, theater, musicals, and stuff like that. Plays drums.
I see this on YouTube. There's like dozens of videos of your kids performing.
That's, what's funny? That's because every performance we go to, they want me to film it.
Right.
So I don't worry about sitting. I'm always just filming it. And the files are way too big to transfer. So I have this little silly, YouTube channel where I just upload all of their stuff. A lot of the girls' performances. Nate actually did stand-up when he was in the first grade.
Yes.
And he totally like worked the crowd, and Leonard Navarez filmed it for me, and that's up there. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Oh, and I have twins. The Sky and Janie are 12, and they're going into the 7th grade.
Nice.
So yeah.
Very nice. So have you ever done stand-up or thought about doing stand-up?
No, I've never done it. I have some jokes that I don't think I could tell any on air.
Oh, you can. It's cable quote radio.
You can. I don't know. No. All right, I'll you know.
Yeah. All right, keep you.
Well, no, there's one. No, you know what? We're good.
Come on,
we're good.
All right, good. In the tradition of, correct me if I'm wrong, Fridays, you brought a cocktail for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
You said it was a Dan Hatton.
Yeah, I'm going to give credit to Johnny Lahane for the name.
Right.
Or his brother. They were both over late one night, and things were said. You know, mistakes were made, drinks were made, and this is the Dan Hatton. It's a pretty traditional Manhattan. I also make a gin and chronic.
Gin and chronic
is
does it have like
really
weed in it?
No, that's 50% gin.
Gin and chronic.
Stronger, there's two kind of like
it's a Snoop song.
You got your 80%
I think.
gin, and then 80 proof, and then you got your 94 proof. So you're going to use 94 proof. 50% of the drink is that.
Okay.
So Beefeaters, Plymouth is good, and then 25% tonic, and then 25% whatever you want. Lemonade. Could be some San Pellegrino.
All right, but now we're drinking this. What is in here? Typical.
We got a little Woodford Reserve bourbon.
Okay.
I went with just a basic sweet vermouth because I find that a lot of these fancy vermouths, they really kind of overpower the drink. So I just went with a real basic vermouth. There's a little slice of lemon rind in there.
And you've got 4 of them in 4 jam jars.
Yeah, I mean, no obligation to finish.
I would never get home if I finished one of them.
Yeah, no obligation.
And you serve them up or on the rocks, or
these I prepared kind of on the rocks because they were getting a little strong.
Oh, I see.
But you can drink them on the rocks.
All right, well, let's go. Can we dig in?
Here, Jen, you ready to do something?
Matt, you having one? There you go.
Yeah. And you can. I'm going to do mine on the rocks. Just I'll drive home at
yeah. All right, good. I'll try it
5 miles an hour.
Here's ice for
thanks,
you.
Man.
Yeah. We're drinking this right now because you seemed a little bit reticent when I asked you to tell one of the jokes, and I think we'll loosen you up with your own poison, the Dan Hatton.
Let's see here. Well,
cheers,
everybody.
Daniel.
It's mostly observation.
DNA.
Cheers, man. Enjoy to your health. You're going to need it after you have this drink.
Oh, yum. That is delicious.
Thank you.
So you were raised in Providence,
yes,
Rhode Island, which is, it's kind of a big Italian town, right?
Yeah.
And did your people, some ancestors from somewhere, came over from Italy?
Yeah.
Was it recent? Or?
My dad's side, my mom was Irish and my dad was Italian.
What a fabulous American coupling that is.
It's great because, the best of the food and drink, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a master of the Irish exit. I don't know if you know that you're at a party and you just disappear.
Yeah, that's good.
You say, like, where did Uncle Joe go? What happened?
Yeah.
It is, in fact, we saw the manifests. If you go to Ellis Island, you can see who came in.
Right.
And there are addresses like in North Providence where the Irish folks went and where my Irish ancestors went, where the Italians kind of did, stonework and like metalwork and like construction and stuff. Insert mob joke, wherever you want. And the Irish, they kind of leaned a little more toward business, I think. But Rhode Island is a real labor. It has a really strong history of labor. And so that it's got this semi-conservative blue-collar vibe, but at the same time, I think Providence was the first city to elect an openly gay mayor.
Wow.
David Cicilline, who I think now is a senator.
Cicilline. And do all the mayor's names end in vowels?
Oh, everybody. Yeah. Everybody. No, if you were not Italian, you would pretty much say you were Italian. It was no, I love it. We I don't get back there as much, but we do go to Narragansett every year, and that we just went. It was fantastic.
Right.
Love it. Just a couple weeks ago. Oh, it's just great.
Nice.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
So the
food too.
And what food of your youth do you miss?
My dad would make in the 70s. He would make calamari in a red sauce. and it would just it would permeate the house, like, and it would drive my mom would like disappear for the rest of the day because the house would smell like squid.
Right.
And in the 70s, apparently in the 70s, that's when like squid became calamari, and somebody marketed it as like, oh no, you should eat this. Don't just use it as bait. You can actually eat this stuff. And that I miss. And also, I used to go once a week during high school. I would go to my grandmother's place, my grandparents.
Your dad's parents?
My dad's parents, who were Italian, and she would feed me. You know, she would just like make this massive lunch at like 2 in the afternoon. And there were times where like I literally ate so much that I couldn't do my paper route. You know what I mean? I couldn't. It was like the snake that ate a rabbit kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that I kind of missed. That was fun. You know,
eating until you
being
couldn't
fed
move
to death. And if you said, "Oh no, Grandma, I'm good," and
right.
she would say, she'd be like, "You give me that look of like hurt. You hurt her." You know what I mean? I never, only once in my life did I ever see her. She had that sort of helmet head kind of haircut.
Sure.
Which, you know, she'd go to the hairdressers once a week,
right?
And like it would be like set. It would be like just like you could push it down and stuff. You know what I mean? And only once did I ever see her with it down. You know, privacy. You know, for them it was like it wasn't. It was. I guess it was a little different. Now we disclose everything. We're telling everybody everything, right?
Right.
But back in the day, you know, I mean, they would kind of, if they were having company, they would have company. If they were, you know, if we were not there, they would probably just live their lives and do whatever. But it was very much a little less disclosure at the time, I guess.
Right.
You know?
So they had like game faces even for family visits.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I miss the holidays. You know, the food of the holidays would be the same thing, like, you know, apps, antipasto, soup, pasta, and then chicken, you know, and then a roast. And then, you know, it was astounding.
And what about the Irish side of your family? What about your mom?
No, yeah. Mom didn't drink too much, but it was on the side of the. Mom could have used more vices, but it was you know, it was definitely on the Irish side of the family.
But did she have cooking that she liked to do? Were there dishes that you miss from your mom?
She didn't love cooking. She would make Irish soda bread, which is a nice, like in a coffee jar, basically. Right. No, it was very much. She was big on the pageantry of the holiday. You know what I mean? Like, you take out the silver for the holiday. You take out the nice china for the holiday. Whereas my dad he just cooked because he enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have in my house. We don't have a fancy set of china
in your house here in Rhinebeck.
Yeah, no,
right.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'll bet probably lots of people don't have that their parents had and their grandparents had.
Yeah, we're saving my parents' old, like, silver lined, you know, china. We don't know which kid is going to want it, if any.
Right.
It's sitting in closet somewhere. I don't know. You know.
Right. Climate controlled mini storage.
Yeah.
Upstairs bedroom.
Oh,
closet.
Yeah. It's just, God only knows where it is. Yeah.
Well, so you went to college in Providence as well. Is that right?
Yeah. I went to Brown. And I'm convinced, I mean, I only got in because I studied music at Brown. But when the rep came to my high school, my friend, only 4 of us showed up, and my friend said, you know, you never accept anybody from our high school. This is ridiculous. And she really the rep really was taken aback, and she was like, all right, fine. And so at the time, the admission rate was like 1 out of 12. Only 4 of us showed up, and she was so flustered. She said, all right, fine. I guarantee 1 spot from your school. So I was like, all right, thanks, Joe, because I know you don't want to go there. And I know she's not getting in, and I know he's not getting in. So I'm like, all right. Honestly, I would never, you know.
So I would never have gotten in. You saw the odds were turning in a more favorable direction.
Oh, yeah.
And what were you doing in high school at the time? What were your interests?
Definitely, I mean, in high,
were you good student?
A little bit like now, where you just try to be good at everything,
right?
But arts was big. I mean, I started the talent show. I was in a band, Dangling Fury. If anybody, if you want to,
Dangling Fury opened for
Leather Cheerio was the other name.
Leather Cheerio, nice.
Yeah, and we were not, particularly good, but we were good. We would play gigs and stuff. But I'll tell you, at Brown though, and I was surrounded by. I mean, Duncan Sheik was in. He's the composer of Spring Awakenings, and former pop star, and Lisa Loeb, and like a lot of talent floating around. It didn't like there was no osmosis that came in my direction, but
and what was your instrument at the time?
Guitar, classical, and then also I can play rhythm. I can play electric guitar. I still solos, rhythm, sing. I can sing still.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that. Is that place in Tivoli still do karaoke? Because that's like the only.
I'm not sure. What's your
Travagen?
What's your
karaoke? Oh yeah, I gotta get up. Gotta get there.
What's your karaoke song?
Dude, I can do "Surrender" by Cheap Trick.
All right, let's go.
Oh my God, no!
Yeah, on the spot,
no,
baby.
No. I'm gonna blow the mics.
Yeah, we're gonna
high G at the end is a little tough.
That's fine. You can scoot back into the shop.
What?
That's like mommy's all right, daddy's all right.
No, I'm good. No, thank you.
Are you just gonna do it a cappella?
I'm trying to think of what other. Oh well, depends on how many drinks I have in me. I mean, there are songs where I'm like,
Kusek.
Oh, I could sing that.
Diordine.
And then I'm like, oh my God, what were you thinking? Like an Oasis song, right? Because they're going back on tour. So like Champagne Supernova. If I have a few in me, I think I could pull that off. But
right.
No.
Right. We only have 40 minutes left, so you got to drink faster to get to the Oasis.
Come
on, just a couple of bars of Cheap Trick.
Oh, I'll sing My Way by Sinatra. I was going to say that.
Oh, good.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. I've been studying that song because it's an incredible,
you have a lovely voice.
It's an incredible recording, and it is the sort of go-to. I just did 3 tequila shots. Like, I'm going to sing My Way.
Right.
It's a tough song.
And so,
I have a tendency to study a song over and over and over again.
And you're currently studying that song.
That one's in heavy rotation right now. Yeah.
So there must be multiple recordings of that by Sinatra.
Sinatra, absolutely, and Elvis does a pretty. I'm kind of a big.
Oh, nice.
Post 60. What was it? 68 comeback special when Elvis kind of turned it around. I like late Elvis.
Can you do an Elvis impersonation for us?
Oh my God!
Yeah, the Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh no! I'm not that good of a singer.
So close.
I'm not that good of a singer.
Yeah,
but we'll go to karaoke. I'll do that with you.
All right. And where do you go to karaoke around here?
Well, I think the only places are that place in Tivoli and I guess Rhinesteller. Are they rocking karaoke right now?
If they're not, they ought to be.
Now, what I love, I feel like, Rhinebeck needs some more live music venues, but
yeah,
we're in the vicinity. They just did a crazy renovation over at Bearsville Theater in Woodstock.
Right.
The Colony, there's a place in Poughkeepsie. There's lots of this. It's easy to see bands up here.
Right. UPAC's nice.
UPAC. There was BSP, which I miss. I hope they come back. But we saw Leonard and I saw Yola Tango over there. It was amazing.
One of the best concerts I ever saw.
What's that?
One of the best concerts I ever saw. Yola Tango.
Oh, did you see them up in Kingston?
I saw them at the Colony like 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And there was a absolute blizzard. And I had a big truck, and we got there, and there were like 10 other people in the audience. And they played a great night.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they're incredible. They're incredible. Yeah. And I do get to shows in the city. I will shout out. We were talking about live music. I will shout out the Avett Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Number one, Tank and the Bangers. That's another band.
Tank and the Bangers.
Nate and I go see them every year at the Blue Note. They're coming in November.
At the Blue Note in New York City?
New York City on West 3rd, yep.
Huh.
They're incredible.
And are they jazz act?
They are the New Orleans based. They're jazz, rock, hip hop, spoken word.
Right.
And at the Blue Note, it's a small space.
Yeah.
And the sound system is absolutely staggering in a good way. And so they, the only trick is to get what we do is if the set's at 8, it's doors at 6. So you want to get there at 6. You get the table next to the friend of the artist table. And then you just kick it for a few hours while literally everyone rejects the seats that they try to put them in. Because at the Blue Note, they're putting 8 people at tables that should sit 6.
Right.
But people tolerate it because they get really good artists. You know what I mean? Like Robert Glasper and all these other, like they get some really good artists. But the number 3, and there's a thread between these 3 artists, Avett Brothers, Tank and the Bangers, and this guy Ryan Beatty. Okay.
Oh yeah.
He is extraordinary. Now, and the thing about all 3 of these artists is that the recordings are great. Their recordings are fantastic, but seeing them live it's just different. You know what I mean? And if any of them play, I go. Like it's essential. And I bring Nate when I can. I bring Nate.
Right.
Yeah.
And are your girls interested in live music as well?
Well, they will be going to see Taylor Swift in Toronto in November.
Oh no!
I can't wait. Dying. Oh, I'm going to. Jen and I are going to.
All right. So you got 4 tickets.
Yes.
Going up for
retirement can wait.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. What do those tickets go for now? Like a grand a pop, or
depending on where you sit, you're looking at like over $1,000, sometimes 2. But
it's nuts.
It is. It's although, I've heard that she really delivers, and also. I've brought Nate to so many shows that I feel like it's going to it's averaging out what we're paying for the girls to see. They're going to manage my wardrobe for the. I wanted to wear a pink suit, but they're like, no, it has to be violet or whatever. So we're gonna hammer that out.
Why not pink?
I don't know. I kind of want to wear a pink suit.
Violet for Rhinebeck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I have brought the girls to the I don't know. Have you guys been to the Connor Kennedy honky tonks at the VFW? Oh my God! There's 2 coming up in September. By the way, it's a PSA for your listeners.
Nice.
They are. It's Jen. Maybe you can. It's hard to describe how good these things are.
Right.
It's at a VFW hall near the Aldi's in Kingston. $10 to get in. The last time we just went, and he had John Sebastian, big 70s, pop star.
Love and Spoonful.
Yep, Love and Spoonful. Welcome Back, Kotter theme song.
Right.
And it's just, for me, it's the only place where the left and the right kind of break bread together, and nobody's talking shit or politics. Everybody's just kind of and there's like a language, like everybody knows how to dance, and they're going counterclockwise. I just stand there and watch it because Connor Kennedy, he's Steely Dan's lead guitar player right now.
Right.
So like you're seeing his band, and Lee Falco plays drums, and then they have people sitting in. Like you're seeing world class musicians for $10. It's weird.
Right.
It's and they keep doing them, which is great. Amazing. They get a little more crowded every time. You know what I mean? The word's getting out. Right. But it's so great. The girls have been to that, but they haven't been to anything else. It's a little easier to drag Nate into the city because he's a little older. We're going to go see Maggie Rogers in October at the Garden, I love it. No, the
what a treat.
The sound systems have gotten better. They run the shows a little bit more, a little bit more of a disciplined fashion. Like if they say it starts at 8, it generally starts at 8.
Oh, so nice.
You know what I mean? And the sound systems are, like I said, the sound systems are great. And, you got to choose your venues wisely. If you want to see, if you want to have a seat or whatever, you got to know where to sit.
So what were some of the first concerts you saw when you were a kid?
Okay, well, the first shows my dad brought me, and we saw, one show was Fats Domino. Incredible.
Wow.
B.B. King was another one.
Amazing.
Arlo Guthrie, Judy Collins, that was the same bill. And then my music teacher brought me to see, at like one of the community colleges in Rhode Island, I saw Dizzy Gillespie.
Wow.
That was wild.
Amazing. And were your parents musical? Or just music appreciators?
Consumers of it. You know what I mean? Yeah, consumers of it. My first actual show that I got to go to alone was Till Tuesday. Amy Mann's band.
Yeah.
And it was before they really made it and stuff like that.
Nice.
But it was they're solid. She still plays.
So you're seeing these shows and you're a guitar player at the time?
Mm.
And then you went to Brown down the street from where you grew up.
Yeah, that was nice because I was 5 minutes from my house.
Nice. And were you studying guitar there?
Yeah. Well, Brown, I studied kind of history and criticism, where you don't really have to perform; you just kind of analyze music, which was great, which I liked to do. But I was still studying classical guitar, and I had a couple of performances that made me realize that perhaps I did not want to perform any longer. I kind of blanked and stuff like that. But be in a band setting, no problem. It's a piece of cake.
So solo performances were not good, but playing in a band was
formal thing. Yeah, the band stuff is no problem. And then when I got out of Brown, it was 1992, and the economy was horrible. So it was either tending bar. I was either going to tend bar in Providence or go to grad school. So I went to NYU. That's what got me to New York. I studied electronic music at NYU.
Wow.
Yeah, interned at a bunch of studios and
so you get a master's degree in electronic music.
Yeah, and production and electronic music. Yeah.
Huh. Mostly production. And you got internships at electronic music production studios and
one was at Sony Classical.
Oh.
And I can tell you that even back then, what they would do is they would take let's say somebody would do a performance 5 times. They'd record it 5 times. And they would splice together, the best pieces of the performance.
Uh-huh.
And so a lot of times if you hear certain artists and it's a Sony Classical release, it's not really it sounds like a live performance, but it's not really. So I have ethically, I have no problem with the studio as the instrument.
Right.
Because, if you think about, let's say we can mention the Beatles. We can't sing them, right?
You can sing them.
You can sing them.
Yeah.
You just can't play them.
Can't buy me love. No. But George Martin, when they say, he was the 5th Beatle, the studio, the production value of the Beatles music. The songs are amazing, but the production value is extraordinary.
Right.
The last 2 minutes of All You Need Is Love is George Martin.
Okay. And you say ethically you got no problem with people cutting and pasting, splicing together performance, or I assume aesthetically. Are there people who have problems with that?
I think.
What's the flip side?
Well, I think there's an expectation, at least in the classical music world, of the maestro that that person who's going to go and play a piano concerto at Carnegie Hall. When you're in a studio, you have flexibility. It's kind of like filming a TV show or a movie as opposed to repertory theater.
Right.
Repertory theater, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. Whereas with film, cut, So, and I guess in jazz, I don't know. I would suspect, I'm not much of a jazz expert, but I would suspect that it's just live to tape in the jazz world. But I was a little surprised with the classical stuff. But the other place I worked at was a place where Puffy, P. Diddy, was working, and he had rented it out for months and months at a time. So I'd get a phone call at midnight. Hey, we need you. We need you to come in. And I was really low. At that time, there was a position called sitting desk, and all you would do is sit at the front desk of a major recording studio, and there would be, 8 to 10 pagers. Like, you would just monitor people's pagers and let them know. And then when Puffy, I'm calling him Puffy, his P. Diddy,
Sean,
soon to be joining Harvey Weinstein in oh, is that slanderous? Well,
is he
probably going to happen?
Wait, was he on trial for something? I missed that.
He's been accused of, inappropriate behavior and whatnot, and things are working their way through the system. But his thing was, it'd be like 4 a.m, and I'd be running around Hell's Kitchen, buying sandwiches and an iced tea.
Sandwiches, is that slang for cocaine?
Yeah. Well, no. Fortunately, I wish
that music industry slang.
And I almost wanted. At one point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit the studio and I'm going to go work for Puffy. At least, there's an upward momentum over there. This guy's a rising star. And then, he was just a horrible person. But
so that thought didn't live long in your mind.
No, because I had met nice producers. I met Butch Vig, who produced Nirvana and Sonic Youth, and I met Tony Visconti, who produced the good Bowie albums, and they were nice. You don't have to be vicious.
And so, was there a thought in your mind at that point that would be your career? You'd be producing musicians and their albums and stuff.
I think there was a point, but literally working at the studios, I was like, I don't think so. It's just not for me, and I wasn't oozing with talent. In fact, I think what tipped the scales was I went to see my friend play on a Wednesday night at a club called Tonic at 1:30 in the morning. Right?
Right.
The band that came on before Miguel at 1, they were so good. There's nobody there. They were so good. I'm like, that was a kind of an inflection point for me. I was like, I'm not that good. You know what I mean? So,
right.
But that's okay because I love, as we discussed, I like going to shows. I have a nice setup at home. No vinyl. I don't rock vinyl. I'm doing all digital. And it's amazing. It sounds so good. Sounds so good.
Nice. So do you sit down and play certain albums for your kids? Like, you guys need to hear Kinda Blue or whatever.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you, during COVID, my friend Miles, who I went to Brown with, sort of guided me through how to convert my system to a higher quality sound. And once we kind of got there, Nate and I, he was only 12-ish at the time, we dissected Abbey Road. I mean, over and over and over. And Beck's Sea Change album. Over and over.
Wait, this is you and your kids?
Me and Nate.
Oh, you and
Nate.
Nate.
Just during COVID. That was 4 years ago. When Taylor Swift released her, she just re-released the 1989 album. I was a very proud parent. When that new release came out, and it sounds really, the new mix of it sounds amazing. Sky and Janie set up a chair, sat in the sweet spot, and did the same thing. They were, that sounds different. Or, did you hear the drums on that? Oh, did you hear this?
Versus the first time it came out. Now, I'm not really up on Taylor Swift, but she re-released stuff because the record label screwed her out of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's a publishing thing. It was this guy Scooter Braun, and he kind of, she might not have had the best deal. There's sort of a history of bad financial decisions that a lot of artists have made over or just gotten screwed. And I think she kind of got screwed. And I think it was Kelly Clarkson said, just re-record everything. You'll have the publishing. Like, you'll get it back.
Right.
And she did. So up until re-recording the 1989 album, because I can't not listen to Taylor Swift in my house with the twins, it seemed like Taylor Swift was trying to recreate the original recordings, whereas with the 1989 re-release, they were like, screw this shit. Let's make it a better let's make it sound better.
Right.
You know, and it's a solid album. I mean, I'm a bit of a Swiftie, I think.
That's great.
And it could be Stockholm syndrome. I don't know, but no, I mean, I can't wait for the show. I mean,
do the girls know that they're your captor in this Stockholm syndrome
I think they do.
equation?
They do, and Janie's starting to introduce other similar sounding female artists. You know, Gracie Abrams and Boy Genius, and you know,
it's when my kids are all grown and flown. It's one of the things I miss. Is that they would bring cool music to my ears all the time.
Yeah, that's you have to. I mean, there's so much talent and so much new music out there. I heavily rely on youngsters, and by youngsters I mean, you know, my 20-something-year-old nieces, or you know, Leonard Navarez is a huge source of.
This is your
new music.
Friend and neighbor. Professor of sociology with an emphasis on
brilliant guy,
music.
Great guy. And you know, he wrote 1,000 during COVID. He wrote 1,000 album reviews,
which is amazing.
If he didn't mention that when he was on here,
he did.
He's super humble.
He did. We spoke about that because that's a really impressive thing. He said some friend of his challenged him to post 100, album covers that were influential.
And he never stopped. No. So he'll kind of hit me up with some new music. I have a list of bands, that if somebody mentions something, I'll be like, okay, great. I gotta, get around to it.
Right. So have your kids heard your music? There must be recordings of you back in the day.
Yeah, they haven't heard it. There is a Dangling Fury demo, it is.
Are they listening right now?
Happily buried. And hidden.
Yeah, make Dad find that and play it for you. Back to this question: what albums would you sit them down and say you must hear this? What are like a handful of albums that you think you would like them to be schooled on?
Well, growing ever since they were born, we had a policy in the car: no children's music. No Wiggles, you know what I mean? None of this.
No Uncle Rock.
What are you wearing? What are you? None of that shit. So they kind of, from day one, have listened to Simon and Garfunkel and like the Beatles, the Killers, Elvis Costello. But I think definitely with Nate, it was the Sea Change album by Beck. That's a beautifully recorded album. Some Willie Nelson. There's an album called Trios 2 with Linda Ronstadt, Dolly Parton, and Emmylou Harris. Amazing. I'm trying to think here. And then sometimes I just force stuff on them. I mean, I was trying to figure out, in thinking about coming here, I have certain albums that are just like in permanent rotation. Like, and I think they all kind of come from the same, like 1992 or 93. And I'm like, all right, so David Byrne has an album called Uh-Oh. Which is incredible, where it's him in like this Brazilian rock band, and the horn arrangements are just blow your head off, Whole, Celebrity Skin,
right?
Crash Test Dummies, second album.
Not Live Through This.
No, the whole you mean?
Yeah.
No, this one's Celebrity Skin, which is again, I'm a sucker for a well sort of crafted album, and really good production and stuff. And what was another? The Moon. I mean, they have to listen to the Van Morrison's Moondance album, Joni Mitchell's Blue. I mean, they hit a wall at some point, like with Joni Mitchell, but And who doesn't? She's amazing.
Right.
But Nate'll turn me on to acts like, he's turned me on to Fantastic Negrito and Hosier.
Right.
We just saw Hosier. That was an incredible show.
I love that so much. Well, what albums, if you're sitting them down saying, kids, you got to listen to this, it's going to blow your mind. What albums have you put on, not in the turntable because you don't spin vinyl, for them that you thought, they're going to love this, and they just didn't take to it?
Oh, there's plenty. I mean, I don't know, man. You know what it is? It's not like they don't like the Killers. The girls would just rather listen to Taylor Swift at this time in the car. But we had a nice stretch where, like, if we were going to drive to Providence or Narragansett, and we could make it through the entire Hamilton album, both CDs,
right,
without stopping,
right,
which because they would just get, they would just get distracted by it.
And if you're in the car, the five of y'all driving north, who gets to decide what is being played?
It's definitely a democratic process, but I mean, a lot of times Jesus Christ Superstar will win.
Really?
Yeah, they always push Les Mis, and I'm like, guys, if you want to,
I think that's the first album I ever bought.
That's a great album.
Yeah,
and we just saw it at Proctor's. Have you guys been to Proctor's?
71 or something?
Oh, it's well, it was the lead singer from Deep Purple. Was the sang on that? And then Evelyn, who played the female lead. It was, it's just a masterpiece. And if they push Les Mis, I'm like, guys, I'm literally going to drive us down to the bottom of the Hudson River if you keep playing this fucking album. I honestly cannot.
And they're like, Dad, you're 995.
I want to set myself on fire when I hear Les Mis.
That's hilarious.
I just can't fucking handle that album.
But the kids like it.
Is that the one like, can you hear the bullshit? Oh my God. Like, kill me.
But the kids like it?
Chop my feet off and hide the remote.
Right.
I would rather you do that than play fucking Les Mis.
Right.
It's one of those things. Like, you ever see a shitty movie and you're like, how did this get made?
Oh, yeah.
That's how I feel when I see Les Mis.
Right.
I'm sorry. Angry Dan is emerging.
Angry
Dan is in the house.
Drink up, Angry Dan. We're getting closer to Cheap Trick time.
Well, maybe I'll tell you one of my observational humor jokes.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not a joke. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not a joke. It's like, I'm just having a little bit of an issue with how open people are with this fucking bidet stuff. Like, I don't want to know. Have you not? Has no one hoisted this upon you? Like,
really took off during the toilet paper shortage of the lockdown.
But I'm like, but think about this. Like, hey, you just bought a house, okay?
Oh God.
Hey, look. Yeah, we went with the 6-burner Wolf stove. It's gas up top. It's electric in the oven. That's the way to go. And I went with second dishwasher. Hey, come to the bathroom. I want to show you how I clean my ass when I take a dump. Why do people
show off their bidet?
Oh my God, I've been subject to this shit.
That's good.
All right, Matty agrees, man.
I've seen it.
And you know what, dude? It reminds me of that time. All of you lived in the city, right? Mm-hmm. When on the subway, everybody was reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh God!
I'm like, what? So it's okay to read about S&M. And so I'm like, I'm going to bring fucking Penthouse Variations on the subway.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, I just, like, I don't, it's the whole, like, hey, we just met. You don't have to tell me that you like to hose yourself down, as opposed to using toilet paper. I don't need to know that.
Well, I just
can we talk about the weather?
That your bidet bragging friends are listening right now.
Oh, I'm gonna make sure they hear this.
We'll send them the video.
That's great.
What's the deal with bidets? Like, it's just infuriating to me. I'm like,
have you ever tried one?
No,
I have not either.
I'm going to tell you why I've never tried one.
It seems they're worth it. Oh, jeez.
What's the break even?
Yeah. What's the over under on that?
Yeah. What's the break even?
It's a separate show.
I've never, because my dear friend, who I'm going to allow to remain anonymous, he tried one in Europe once, and he burned that very sensitive region down there.
Yeah. Burned it because
the water was too hot.
Oh God!
You can't.
It sounds so horrible. Way to ruin a vacation. No more wandering around the piazzas.
And that's another problem, because if it's cold, it's like you're not presenting well if you're a male.
No,
if it's too cold.
Well, but, hopefully,
yeah. You're reminding me now that this toilet paper discussion. My dad, I'm remembering now this conversation I had with my dad, and I used to call him, every weekend. I called him, and my dad was really big into bargains, I was like, hey, Dad, how are you? He goes, he didn't even say hi, and he would always be like, oh, hey. He goes, what are you paying for toilet paper? I'm like, Dad, are you talking about the sale at Stop and Shop? The Scott tissue, 50 cents, He goes, yeah. Did you get it? I'm like, of course I got it. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Norm.
Yeah, Pop. Come on.
Right? And I did. So anyway, I just like that. That whole bidet thing. I'm sorry. Oh, but I did. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. No, you go.
No, I did want to tell you about this time that I went to a show. Getting back to concert, I went to a rap show in like 1995, and I was the only white guy there.
Uh-huh.
It was one of the greatest nights of my life.
Where was the show?
It was at the Ritz in Midtown.
Oh, nice.
My friend Brian, this is when I was in NYU. It was like I was just getting out of NYU, and he says, "Hey man, do you want to go?" Brian's black, still, to my knowledge, and
he hasn't turned.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't gone. He hasn't gotten that like lightning treatment.
Oof.
Like Michael Jackson did.
I know. That's where I went immediately.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
He goes, "Hey man, you want to go see a Big Daddy Kane record release party?" Oh. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I'm 24 years old. I'm like, I got no money. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So pre-gaming, I did what any, you had a couple drinks and stuff like that.
Right. You went out, got the sandwiches.
I got the quote unquote. Yeah. A couple lines of below, no big deal. No.
Yeah.
But I was kind of cresting in terms of confidence. I was in the zone. So I just
is a great time.
What's that?
24 years old is a great time to crest in terms of confidence.
I'm at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like, so I drank like a half a bottle of wine, and I was feeling great. And I go, and I get dressed, but unfortunately, it was like a shitty pair of sneakers, khakis, and like this teal mock turtleneck and a baseball cap. So it was the beaten down soccer dad before,
right,
20 years too early. So we get to the Ritz, and I'm in the zone, and like the bouncer's like, "Let me see your ID," and I go, "Oh, you want to see my ID?" So I took my baseball cap off and I showed him my bald head, and I was like, "There's my ID." He let me in.
Nice.
So we're hanging. I'm still feeling good. Bismarck, like Buster Rhymes, Salt and Pepper. But the thing was that I kind of grew up, playing in a band, and when you played a club when you play in a band, it's like between acts, it's like a 45-minute leeway. Because, the drummer's got to replace the drums and play his drums. Right. At this rap show, at this record release party, that wasn't an issue because it's just a DJ.
Right.
And they would come out and freestyle or do whatever the hell they were going to do. So by the time Big Daddy Kane's about to come out, I'm waning a little bit, my confidence, because we had a really good spot and I couldn't go back to the bar and get another drink. So I'm just kind of like, oh, wow, all right. So the guy from Hot 97 comes out to get the crowd hyped up. It's really crowded, and he's like, "All right, let me hear Brooklyn, Queens, Uptown, everybody." He's going through all the boroughs, not Staten Island, but I mean, all the other boroughs. And I'm like looking for a trap door because I'm like, Providence, and he goes, the Flex or whoever the hell it is from Hot 97. He looks down at me and he goes, "Don't worry, I see you." And I'm like, "Hi." And he says, "Everybody give it up for the only white man in the house." And the fucking place exploded. It was so great.
So good.
I have not been to another rap show, even though I want to. It's all downhill from there, man.
Oh, yeah. Where are you going to go from there? Did he ask where you were, where from?
Oh, God, no.
Representing Providence?
No.
Providence in the house.
Actually, Leonard and I almost saw Kanye West when he had that tour where the stage was like hanging from the roof. It was like a stage. It was hanging by 4 ropes. And I'm like, I don't know if I trust this guy.
Right.
We ended up passing. I would go though. I'd see whatever.
And who would you like to see if you could see any act, rap, rock, whatever, throughout history? Who would you?
Who I've not seen?
No, just or see again. See it for the first time.
Oh, I think Zeppelin at their peak. The Who. I've seen the Who, but the Who in like 77.
Right.
I've seen Les Zeppelin. And they're amazing.
Wait, Les Zeppelin?
Yeah, it's all women. They're like the foremost Zeppelin interpreters.
And there's Dread Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
You have?
Oh my God, they were great. Well,
reggae Zeppelin group.
You got it.
Right.
That's right. It was reggae versions of Zeppelin songs.
So good.
But the lead singer, his name was Tort Elvis.
Right.
He was late 70s Elvis. It was astounding, man. I'd see them again.
Is that the same group who did Dub Side of the Moon? Reggae versions of the Pink Floyd album?
Dude, no, I don't know. I'll have to check that out.
Or Radio Dread?
I don't know. I would love that. That's Dub Side of the Moon. That must be incredible.
It's pretty good.
Do they perform it, or is it kind of like
I've only
roll
heard
a fat one and just listen at home?
And I don't roll fat ones, but I do listen at home.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah,
I cough. Makes me cough.
Ugh.
And the stupid gummy.
Gummies last too
Not
long.
for me.
Well, so you said your dad called at Tops. This was the segue. I was going to interrupt.
Oh, you want to ask about Tops?
About the toilet paper sale. And I wanted to ask about your reviews of Tops, which are so much fun.
Oh, thanks.
And bring you so much fame and appreciation.
Yeah, people I've never met have come up to me at Tops and been like, "Hey, are you that guy?" I'm like, "Isn't that weird?" Like, seriously, like a bunch of people.
How did that start?
Well,
for people listening who don't know, on Facebook, on social media, my guest, Daniel Dordine, makes pithy and humorous reviews of observations of things that are going on at our local supermarket, Tops Friendly Market.
Yeah, well, okay. There's a couple of factors. It used to be a Stop and Shop, right?
Yeah.
And I'm loyal to. I used to work at Stop and Shop. I mean, that didn't work out because I was talking to the customers too much, and like my drawer was never even and stuff like that. But Stop and Shop, there was one where the Tops location is, and my cousin Dominic from North Providence used to head up.
Does everybody in Providence have a cousin Dominic?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's all the same guy.
Yeah.
It's all no, Dominic used to run produce on the East Coast for Stop and Shop. When he left, I swear to God, when he left, the produce got worse at this Stop and Shop. And then the next thing I know, it's a Tops, and I wasn't too familiar with Tops, but that was one factor that I was just like, I wanted to hate them.
Right.
But then they're busting out like, you can buy a duck, you can buy camel meat, you can buy a button-down shirt.
Yeah.
Have you seen their spring collection, right?
And the Tops spring collection.
It was that kind of like, this place, they had a wall of like Coffee Mate. I'm like, this place is fucked up. And so it's that kind of thing. And then also just the sort of brutal repetition of grocery shopping and over and over and over again. I'm like, if I see something silly, I want to kind of have fun with it and point it out and everything like that, because it just gets so fucking boring.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And now it's pumpkin spice season, which I know you like.
It's a little early. A little early.
Not for Tops, it isn't.
No. Wait for the Valentine's Day shit. It'll be out any moment
next week. Yeah.
And some of their displays are preposterous. I bought a wallet there once. I bought a belt because I was like, I actually just lost my belt. And if I see one at Tops, I'm just gonna buy it.
Right. And you did.
I have, yeah.
So do the Tops people have any idea that you're doing this?
No, I don't think so. Because I've never been asked. I've never been thrown out, and I've never been asked to go upstairs and consult
behind that sort of partially.
I've got some ideas. No. It's my go-to play. I love it. It's silly, but the reason I get called out on Facebook because if there is when they introduce those plastic yellow carts,
right?
People were tagging me on Facebook, yo, why didn't you tell us? I'm
where's the protest?
I was out of town, man. And the Starbucks, wasn't it a Double D there before? It was a Dunkin'. It had to have been a Dunkin' Donuts.
It was a different kind of coffee place. Maybe it was a Dunkin'.
It wasn't Double. Yeah,
but it was not Starbucks.
No.
So
incongruous.
Yeah.
That there's a Starbucks.
Do you ever go there to the Starbucks?
Only in moments of desperation.
Right.
I don't love their coffee.
Right.
It's like killing a mosquito with a sledgehammer. It's a little strong for me.
It's the kind of coffee I like.
I think All That Java should get up in there.
All That Java is very good coffee.
Yeah.
They're
in Hannaford. Yeah.
Oh, they are?
Mm.
Oh, Hannaford in Kingston?
Kingston.
But not, is there a Hannaford in Red Hook?
Yeah.
But
I don't go there.
Right.
No, never. It's cheating. And also they don't sell clothing. I think that's
right.
That's
in case you're in the
the
supermarket and need a belt.
The fact that they sell clothing, because sometimes it'll be we were actually talking about doing a fundraiser. Because in the back near the dairy section, there are times where it's 2 huge racks of clothing and doing a midnight fundraiser, doing a fashion show for a cause where you'd go up and down the people would go up and down the runway and you'd have to, I don't know, pony up $100 or something like that. I don't know.
If you need staff to help you with that, I'd like to volunteer.
I think that would be fun. But no, man, it's you can put a good meal together at Tops and so when I go to Adams, it's it's more like binging treats.
Right.
Just the fun dips and the
Adams. You know what they have that I'm so delighted to discover? They have Marbits, which are the little marshmallow bits from Lucky Charms. Adams sells little plastic tubs of Marbits.
Only the little things.
Only the marshmallow.
Magically delicious.
Oh yeah.
So that's cool.
They really are.
Is it the brand, the same brand? Is it like a General Mills thing, or is it some hipster?
They don't explain the provenance of the Marbits in a little plastic tub.
Tonight's chef has prepared the 2024 Marbits.
But listen, we got 30 seconds left, and that's just enough time to sing a couple of bars.
Oh no!
Of Surrender by Cheap Trick, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Daniel Doherty.
I'll
Mama's all right.
Daddy's all right. They just seem a little weird. Surrender.
But don't give yourself away.
I was going to tell one of my horrendous jokes, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you when we're off the air.
Well, we're out of time. Everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you so much for being here. It flew by as I knew it would.
Sorry about my rant.
Everybody have a happy Friday and a great weekend. And don't forget to support RadioFreeRhinecleft.org on their website. There's a donate now button.
Right on. Thank you, Norm.
All their stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Good night.